The Free Thinker Show. Ignite your mind, challenge the norm.
All right, so today we're doing a deep dive straight into the heart of Amazon. It's all about their recent announcement, the one about potential management cuts. It's got everybody talking.
Yeah, it's definitely causing a stir, and for good reason. This isn't just about trimming the fat, it's about how Amazon sees its structure changing in the future.
So more than just like a cost-cutting thing, I have to say, when I first saw those headlines about 14,000 manager roles potentially on the chopping block, I was floored, especially when Morgan Stanley estimated they could save $3 billion a year. Seems like a pretty big move to me.
No, it's definitely eye-catching.
Yeah.
But looking back at Amazon's history, this whole efficiency thing, it's in their blood. Remember when they launched Prime? Free 2-day shipping. Seemed wild at the time, right? But it totally changed online shopping and made Amazon everyone's go-to. This feels similar, another one of those bold moves, a calculated risk to try to come out on top.
Interesting comparison. How does this management shakeup fit into that whole go big or go home thing? Is there a connection between these potential cuts and, their push to get everyone back in the office? That's another big change they've been pushing.
You're right, to connect those dots. Having managers back in the office means they can directly supervise more people, which makes cutting back on managers more doable. But it's more than just being physically present. This move seems tied to CEO Andy Jassy's leadership, which is different from, Jeff Bezos.
So it's a new era, a new direction. Tell me more about how Jassy's vision is playing out here.
Jassy's journey at Amazon is kind of fascinating. He started back in 1997 and climbed the ladder by leading Amazon Web Services, AWS, the cloud computing part. That background makes me think he's a tech-focused leader, all about data and concrete results.
So, if Bezos was about shaking up retail, Jassy's focus is using tech to change not just their products, but their internal structure, too. That's a pretty big change.
Yeah, it could really change Amazon as we know it. This isn't like just swapping out the boss. It's a whole new way of thinking about how they work. Everything from making decisions to how they measure success, it could be different.
Wow, you've got my attention. So how does this tech-focused, data-driven approach actually work when you're managing a company as huge as Amazon? What are the big differences we might see compared to, say, the Bezos era?
That's the million-dollar question. We don't have a crystal ball, but we can look at how AWS runs things. They're known for being agile, quick to innovate, and they make decisions based on data. So we might see Amazon moving away from that top-down structure they're known for to something more adaptable and decentralized.
So less about orders from the top and more about giving teams the power to make decisions based on data. That's interesting. I wonder how it might affect the company culture overall. Because, let's face it, Amazon's work culture has kind of a reputation.
Oh, absolutely. And this restructuring could be a turning point. Fewer layers of management could mean more empowered employees, a sense of ownership, and maybe even faster decisions.
It sounds good on paper, but there are always two sides. What about the downsides? We're talking about a lot of people possibly losing their jobs. What's the human cost of all this efficiency?
You're right, that's crucial. A leaner structure might look good in a presentation, but the human impact is real. These aren't just numbers. They're people with families, careers, lives.
It's complicated, no easy answers. Reminds me of those conversations about automation and AI. The benefits versus people losing jobs. It's tough. How do you balance progress in people's livelihoods?
It's a balancing act for sure, and there's no magic solution. It'll be interesting to see how Amazon handles it, especially how they support those affected. Will there be retraining, severance packages, help finding new jobs? Their actions will speak volumes.
You've given us a lot to think about. So beyond the human side, what are the bigger implications? Could this be the start of something bigger across different industries? Or is Amazon just laser focused on efficiency in a way that others aren't?
Well, Amazon's known for setting trends, right? Think about Prime, how it changed online shopping and forced everyone else to catch up. This management shakeup could be the same, making other companies rethink how they're structured and try out leaner models.
It makes sense, especially now with the economy the way it is. Companies are looking to cut costs, so if Amazon sees big success, it seems likely that others will try to copy them.
Absolutely. And let's not forget about Wall Street. Job losses grab headlines, but investors usually see these kinds of streamlining measures as a good thing. It tells them a company is focused on profits, which can mean higher stock prices and make investors feel confident.
It's fascinating how different people see these changes in totally different ways. Investors see an opportunity, employees might be unsure or even scared. It really shows how complex these decisions are and how many people they affect. It's a lot to process, that's for sure. The ripple effects, the impact on people, Wall Street reacting, it really makes you wonder what's next for, like, the whole idea of management. Are we seeing a big shift happening?
That's a good question. This whole thing with Amazon, it could be a sign of what's to come. Maybe those traditional hierarchies we're used to are going to be replaced by flatter structures, more adaptable ones.
So, less about climbing that corporate ladder and more about working together and giving power to individuals on teams. Sounds like a pretty big change from how things usually work.
It is, and it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. Will we see more innovation, quicker decisions, and employees who are more invested? Or will it be harder to coordinate, communicate, and keep a strong company culture? Who knows?
Those are really great questions. I guess only time will tell. But taking a step back, I can't help but think about the bigger picture here. Amazon, it's like a tiny example of this huge conversation happening about work in the 21st century. We've got tech changing everything, the economy is uncertain, and people want careers that are more flexible, more fulfilling. It's a lot.
You're absolutely right. It's a perfect storm changing how we think about work completely. And for those listening, what's happening at Amazon, this is a front row seat to see it all play out. Pay attention, analyze, and maybe even think about how these changes could affect your own career.
Absolutely. So if you're anything like me, you're probably full of questions right now. Is this Amazon thing happening in my industry too? How could these new ways of working change my own career goals? These are things we want you to keep thinking about.
Stay curious, my friends, and don't be afraid to question everything you thought you knew about work. The future's being written right now, and it's the people who adapt, who think ahead, that are going to succeed.
And that is a great place to wrap up. This deep dive into Amazon's management changes has been quite the journey, from the details of how they're restructuring to the bigger questions about the future of work. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking those questions, and as always, thank you for joining us on the deep dive.